Imagine trademarking the name of your next big sequel. You file that trademark in Japan in November 2001. A month later, you file it in the United States. Every major gaming outlet picks up on it. Fanbase goes into a frenzy, and then nothing. Silence. The company never speaks of it again. That's exactly what happened with Chrono Break, the Chrono sequel that Square trademarked, teased, and then buried. In 1995, Square did something unprecedented. They assembled a literal dream team. Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, Yuji Horii, the mind behind Dragon Quest, and Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. 3 legends, 1 game, Chrono Trigger. The result wasn't just a commercial success, it became one of the most beloved RPGs ever made. To this day, it sits at a 92 on Metacritic, regularly tops the greatest RPG of all time lists, and for context, fewer than 10 games in history have maintained that level of critical consensus for 3 decades. Then came 1999. Chrono Cross. A different team, a different version, but it worked, commercially and critically. It sold approximately 1.5 million copies in Japan. GameSpot gave it a perfect 10. 2 years after the release of Chrono Cross, November 5th, 2001, Square files a trademark for the name Chrono Break in Japan. December 5th, a month later, they filed the same trademark in the United States. News spread through early gaming forums like wildfire. A sequel was coming, and it had a name. But what most people don't know, Square also trademarked the Chrono Break name for the use across an almost absurd range of products. Video games, obviously, but also keychains, plush toys, clothing, music, board games. The list goes on. This wasn't a defensive filing. Defensive filings don't cover plush toys. Square was planning something. And then, silence. No announcement, no trailer, no concept art. The trademark just sat there, public and unchallenged, while fans waited. Months passed, then years. So what actually happened? Because the answer isn't as simple as Square just forgot about it. The most commonly cited explanation is the Square Enix merger of 2003. And it's part of the story, but it's not the whole story. So what was happening inside Square at the time? In 2001, the same year they filed the Chrono Break trademark, Square released Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, a feature film that cost approximately $137 million to produce, only grossed around $85 million worldwide, and that single loss of over $50 million pushed Square into its first financial loss since going public. The financial damage from that film triggered a chain reaction. Square's president resigned, the company cancelled multiple unannounced projects to cut costs, and critically, it made Square suddenly and desperately open to merger talks with longtime rival Enix. The merger was announced in 2002 and finalised on April 1st, 2003. And this is where Chrono Break likely died. When 2 companies merge, every single project gets re-evaluated. New leadership, now called Square Enix, had to decide which games moved forward and which games didn't. A third Chrono game, from a team that had already been scattered into other projects, competing for resources against the likes of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, it never stood a chance. The uncomfortable truth about Chrono Break is that the very thing that made the Chrono Trigger legendary is the same thing that made a second sequel nearly impossible. The Dream Team was never a permanent unit. It was a one-time collaboration, 3 creative giants who each had their own massive franchises to run. By 2001, Sakaguchi was consumed with Final Fantasy, Horii was deep into Dragon Quest, and Toriyama was working on Dragon Ball. Square's internal culture at the time treated creators as inseparable from their series. Sakaguchi was Final Fantasy, Horii was Dragon Quest, and by that logic, no Dream Team, no Chrono. Multiple former Square employees have hinted at this over the years. In a 2008 interview, composer Yasunori Mitsuda, who scored both Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, said, and I am paraphrasing, that getting the original team back together was genuinely difficult to understand from the outside, but nearly impossible from the inside. The Chrono series was an orphan, beloved by fans, beloved by critics, but without a single creative champion inside the new Square Enix to fight for it. And that's probably why every subsequent Chrono's coming back rumour has amounted to nothing. In 2008, Square trademarked Chronobind in Japan, fans lost their minds, and it turned out to be unrelated. It was in fact a card game in Final Fantasy XIII-2. In December 2017, Chrono Trigger director Takashi Takita gave an interview to Game Informer where he acknowledged the Chrono Break trademark for the first time publicly, and revealed that concepts originally planned for the cancelled sequel had been repurposed into Final Fantasy Dimensions 2, a mobile title. Not a console game, not a Chrono game, a mobile Final Fantasy spin-off. Then came 2022, Chrono Cross got a remaster, the Radical Dreamers edition. It added a few quality of life features, cleaned up the visuals, and included the long-lost Radical Dreamers text adventure. But it also made clear that Square viewed Chrono as a remaster property, not an active franchise worth investing in. Because here's the thing, the Chrono Cross remaster sold adequately, not spectacularly, and in Square Enix's eyes, that likely just confirmed what they already believed, that the Chrono audience is nostalgic but small, passionate but not large enough to justify the budget that a true sequel would demand. Square didn't lose Chrono because they ran out of talent. They didn't lose it because they forgot about it. They lost it because the window closed. The Dream Team scattered, the merger buried it, and by the time the company stabilised, the financial case for a sequel had become harder to make with each passing year. The Chrono Break trademark was eventually abandoned, it expired, no one renewed it, and that more than any rumour or interview will tell you everything you need to know. What's your take? Does Chrono deserve a third game, or is the story better left as it is? Drop in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe and ring the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.